Yo, call me an animation doing 120 hours in bed is my duration. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Sketch. Today and only today, we are here to talk about the best pieces of Sonic animation in the entire franchise. So this is going to be between the shows, the movies, and the animated shorts. I want to just sit down, rank them. Let's talk about them. You know what I mean? There's nothing else going on. Every day I wait. Every day I wait.
I know it's your job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause.
So as you can see, I have a tier list right here with absolute peak, fire, pretty dope, I, and ass. This is going to be my metric for these. And honestly, let's start with the OG. So for me, Adventures in Sonic and Sonic the Hedgehog, the OG shows, they're ones that I watched as a kid. I've seen a lot of clips throughout the years, and I've watched a few episodes just to kind of get my mind to it. For me, these two both fall into pretty dope. Now, Adventures in Sonic leans into the more comedy, cartoony side with some fun little story elements, some fun banter between Sonic, Tails, Eggman, his little enemy guys. But what I like about Sonic the Hedgehog, like the original, I think 1993 cartoon, is it's a little more serious, right? There's a bit more of a bigger plot thread going on. Even Sally Acorn is pretty good in that show, but you get a lot of Sonic's dynamic with characters, and you get a lot of that cocky attitude. You get a lot of the more earliest moments of Sonic's personality shining, to me, really fall in that show. So while it's not the craziest thing for me in terms of the series, I still think they both fall into pretty dope. Next here we have Sonic the OVA. You already know, absolute peak for me. Peak cinema, peak writing, peak everything. I adore everything about Sonic the OVA, and you guys know it. I mean, if you're a Sonic fan, you should go watch this on YouTube if you haven't. It is just 45 minutes of pure bliss. Now, is Sonic a bit of a dickhead in this movie more than usual? Yes, but this movie does such a good job of showing how Sonic's action can be in full impact. It can show how menacing Eggman can be. It introduced Metal Sonic, at least in movie form. The fight between them is so fucking cool. You get Cowboy Knuckles, and while the characters' voices are a little weird in this movie, it is such a good movie, dude. Like it's just a nice thing that you watch through. The animation is immaculate. The only weird thing is Sonic's legs are weirdly really long in it, but besides that, his dynamic with Tails is really good. He flips off Eggman, which is kind of crazy, and I love this so fucking much. All right, the Christmas special, I think again, same area as, you know, these two, just pretty dope. It's a fun little Christmas special. You get some nice moments between the gang. You get some Christmas gifts. It's a good vibe, nothing too crazy. Now, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but for me, Sonic Underground is right? Because Sonic Underground, obviously, you know, you have a beautiful, iconic opening, right? The sending mud, oh, the weight, a deadly march of a deadly weight, something like that. But the show itself is really fucking random. I don't really care for Sonic's siblings, I guess. I really don't like, I mean, not that I don't like it, but I just find the idea of like Sonic and his friends being like rock star fighters is like it's a weird concept to me. And while it's like, it's kind of cool, it's just not really what I'm looking for in Sonic, but it's definitely at least charming. And also, I don't think they ever found their mom, because I think the show ended like right before they were going to. Oh, next we have Sonic X. Now, Sonic X, I think for me, goes into fire. Now, the reason for that is, and it's not absolute peak, is because over the years, yeah, you grow up, you watch the show, you realize, damn, there's a lot of filler here. There's a lot of human elements, and a lot of moments the animations can be wonky. But it is hard to deny that whether, you know, you're watching the Japanese version or the English version, that Sonic X isn't something that was so fucking cool to us as fans. Like, I feel like it was one of the earliest portrayals of Sonic, modern Sonic, in an animation. So the way you saw how cool he was, and you know how he would come in and save the day towards the end of everything, how it had a continuous plot line, how you got to learn and love characters like Rouge, Knuckles, Amy, Tails, everybody. I feel like this is really when Sonic's cast felt like a family that you were really getting to know over the years and over the episodes. And whether, you know, the future seasons where you're going into space, whether they go to the plot lines of Perfect Chaos and they go Super Sonic fights, and you have Super Sonic and Super Shadow fights that you've seen all over the internet, which look incredible together. I still think that while Sonic X doesn't really age the best, I know the 4Kids dub ruins a lot of things, I still think it is the interpretation of Sonic that a lot of people grew up with and love overall. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to your boy and support the content, like it. Thank you. Woo! Oh, Sonic Night of the Werehog. I'm giving this one, I'm not gonna lie to you, absolute peak. There is something about Night of the Werehog for me that is so special, right? Because it's just this 12, 13 minute short. Sonic doesn't even say anything in it, but it's so well done. I don't even know how to explain it. What it is visually incredible. Like to this day, it stands out as one of the best animations they've had in the entire franchise, right? Marta Studio entirely CG animated it, but it's got such a nice, charming story, right? You have this ghost girl that's charmed by Sonic. She sends the two minions to get pictures of him, right? They get into a fight with Sonic. They turn into a fusion mode together. Sonic turns to a Werehog. He's trying to defeat them. It's such a beautifully fun little side story, and it's so well animated and so fun. I could watch it forever, genuinely. And for me, that one is absolute peak. Next up, we have Sonic Boom. All right, and this is gonna be where a lot of us are going to differ, and I think it's okay, right? For me, Sonic Boom just falls in height, right? And I think the reason for this is, I know a lot of people say, Fidel, it's really funny. I really like it. For me, and I've said this before, this just is not how I like my Sonic characters, where I really feel like feels like a Seinfeld episode or an episode of Friends, where like all the characters are sort of like grumpy, settled down, and yeah, there's some action moments, but it's mainly just comedy, and the comedy is good, don't get me wrong. Like there's plenty of funny moments in this show that I genuinely find are funny.
Let's feed it a chili dog. Everyone loves chili dogs.
I don't think he can eat solid food.
Well, then put it in the blender. Well, if you say so.
But it is really not at all what I look for in the franchise and the characters, and I feel like it did a lot of damage to the brand and everything. But again, I think it's still enjoyable. That's why I put it in high. You know, it's something enjoyable. It's something I would never go ever back on my own to sit down and watch. And it's not really the interpretation of the characters I like. Oh, next up we have Sonic Mania Adventures. Now, these were the animated shorts they were putting out in 2017 for Mania, and I think, again, these to me fall in absolute fire, right? I don't think it's peak. Now, let me tell you why, right? I think they're fire, but they're not peak because at the end of the day, these are more like short form, slapstick, old school cartoon comedy, but they're so charming, right? I love what they ended up doing here with Sonic and the gang. Actually, never mind. You know what? They have a bonus episode with Amy and Metal Sonic going through the snow, and the finale of that is pretty raw. So I'm actually gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna put it in peak. I think these are way too charming and cute the more I think about them, whether they introduce Mighty and Ray in them, whether they introduce Knuckles. And like I said, while the action is never anything crazy, it is more of a comedy show, I still think it's really charming, very cute, and I fuck with it heavy. Oh, Team Sonic Racing Overdrive. Fire, fire, fire. I love this. This was a 3-part or 2-part special that they put out for Team Sonic Racing. This thing is so cool to me because it does this cool blend of like 2D and 3D. And obviously it's meant to be like, you know, one big race across the field. And I loved this special so much because you got a good look at the entire cast, right? And it was mute, right? They weren't talking, which to me, it's a little weirder when the modern Sonic characters talk. But again, Night of the Werehog proves that you can do that. But I guess when it's like a whole cast of them, it can come off as a little weirder. But I will say again, the little antiques they get into is so cute. I love how they show every character's like personality traits via how they're kart racing. I love how you just have Big the Cat walking around the course. I love that moment. You know, Shadow losing his car and then just standing on the side. I love Sonic's, you know, going through, drifting really quickly, and his dynamic with Amy and Amy's car. Like, I think they do a really good job of showing all the gang's dynamic. And even like towards the end when Sonic Tails Knuckles win and they're just like standing there upset, see Eggman flaunting. I still think very cute, very charming special, and it's like it's dope, man. Chao in space, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a personal one for me that I fucking love. I put this in peak for me. Something about Chao in space is so good. I adore how Sonic looks in it. I love the animation. I love that it's fluctuating between this plot line of literally Chao's in space doing some sort of Star Wars plot line where Sonic is charmingly trying to take care of a Chao, and it is one of the cutest things in these series. You know, the way he's trying to take care of it, how he's falling. I love that one more where the Chao punches Eggman. I love when Sonic, you know, is holding him. I love when he's running around. Like, to me, this is peak love, peak charm for my boy. And I have a special place in my heart for the Chao's in space animation. So for me, absolute peak, no question. Oh, Sonic movie, huh? I'm gonna put Sonic Movie 1 in pretty dope. I think Sonic Movie 1, we've talked about a lot how it really is much more of a buddy cop movie, and it's really charming, it's really cute, and it's a great introduction to these characters. And a big thing about Sonic Movie 1 is just that it really did a lot for this franchise, right? I mean, it's a big reason, you know, Sonic was successful in the box office. It's a big reason Sega ended up taking care of the franchise more and caring more. The success of this movie cannot be understated for how great it is. But I think overall, right, while it's not the most exciting movie, I still think it's one that I would even say, honestly, like, probably top of pretty dope, you know, above everything else. Oh, this is Sonic Colors animation. Honestly, this one, as time has gone on, I think it's pretty odd. I feel like it's one of the Sonic animations I go back to the least because I find the art style is pretty cute. The dialogue is kind of whatever, and they don't really do much in this, I feel like they talk a lot. I feel like, you know, there's at least one little cool fight with metal, but even then it feels kind of childy, you know, in a way. Like it feels like it's just like aimed at a much younger audience. I don't know, it's a charming one, but it's not one that I ever really go back to or think about in any way. Now, Sonic Movie 2 for me, absolutely top of fire. I love Sonic Movie 2, right? I adored this thing. I think obviously besides some of the wedding stuff, I think it nails how Sonic is. I think it nails the Knuckles stuff. I can't believe they pulled the Super Sonic at the end of it. And just Agent Stone is funny. Eggman is fantastic. Like they keep nailing it over the head with this. And I felt like Sonic Movie 2 is really when I was like, oh fuck, like we can have a Sonic universe and it can be raw. And that's why I sit here every day praying for that movie through each other, because I know it's going to be so good because we're so close. You know, I felt like with Sonic Movie 2, there was that one element missing where we're like, okay, we're still doing a lot of more comedy stuff with the humans, which is fine. You know, there's a lot of cool humans in there, but we are so close to peak. But Sonic Movie 2 is such a good example of how fucking cool the Sonic movies can be. And speaking of Sonic Movie 2, this is the Sonic Movie 2 little YouTube short that they put out, what it was like, Junkyard Adventure. This one is pretty dope to me. I thought this one is actually like really good. I wouldn't put it above Sonic Movie 1, but I thought this was a cute little animation. It's this weird thing where it ends up like looking like it's, you know, live action, but it's actually fully animated. It's a cute little animated short, right, where, you know, they just go through the junkyard, they find a machine, they end up, you know, having to fight it, run around. It's cute. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing over the top. I would even put it above, you know, some of the cartoons. I feel like I would put it right under them, but I would still say it's pretty dope. Sonic Frontiers Prologue, let me tell you, absolute peak, and I would even put it right here. You know what I mean? I would even put it above Night of the Werehog. I think, actually, I would put it right under it. You know why? Because with Sonic Frontiers, the Knuckles Prologue, I adored this thing, and I wish it was longer, man. Right? But it is immaculate. One, I think it's gorgeous, right? For the most part, I just think that animation style they went to is 10 out of 10, which is why I'm so excited for what they do with the shadow animation that they've announced. I'm sure they're going to kill it. But the Knuckles Prologue is beautiful because, one, you get a self-reflection from Knuckles. You get to see this incredibly beautiful segment where he's flying around Sky Sanctuary and just seeing his daily life and how he narrates it and how he's living among the Chow and how every day he just goes and explores, right? And then he finds that gear, right? He goes in it and, like, you know, he gets transported to the islands, and man, holy shit, when you see him fighting the robots, it is so fucking cool. It's just one of those animated specials where you're just reminded how cool Knuckles can be, how collected he can be, how raw he is. And again, while it ends what I feel like is abruptly just because of the fact that, you know, it's a prequel to Frontiers and he gets trapped, I just adore everything about it. And just that sort of introspective Knuckles has when he's talking, where he's just saying, like, sometimes, man, I don't want to be alone. You know, he likes being isolated, but he just sometimes thinks about moving on, and that's what you end up seeing in Sonic Frontiers about his future life. And that's just, it makes you happy, man. I love it, love it, love it. All right, Sonic Prime. It's time we really had this discussion. It's been a long time since Season 3 ended, and I've had some time to think about it. Honestly, when it comes to Sonic Prime, I would say it is aight, right? I would not say it's ass, because look, the final season, I agree, is ass. You know what I mean? I don't think it's good at all, but I do think the first two seasons were really good, and I felt like they were really setting something up that was really cool. I cannot deny in general how dope the interpretation of, you know, Shadow is. I can't deny how cool some of the set pieces are. I love the fight with that Metal Sonic variant that they had in there that I really loved. That guy was really cool, and I think there was some cool elements in that, you know, show. And while I think they did not stick the landing at all, and I think the last season really puts a damper on how a lot of people feel about it, I still think they made something that was pretty cool, and I like the variations of some of the characters. I like some of the environments they go to, but it's a show that could feel very repetitive at times, and so I'm just gonna keep it an eye. It's not asked to be, because I still, again, enjoyed my time with the first 2 seasons a lot. We already kind of placed 4 kids. This is Sonic and Friends. I mean, it's whatever. It's as, but it's not really as. It's just like it's a little charming YouTube TikTok short for the little Timmies out there. I'm sure they're doing little dances. Good for them, man. And our latest piece of Sonic media would be the Knuckles series. Man, where do I want to put the Knuckles series? But do I want to put it in an ass or do I want to put it in an eye? Because let's talk about it first, right? We just saw this recently, 6 episodes. And while the first 2 episodes I think are genuinely charming and lovable, I think, you know, episode 3 through 5 and even most of 6 are pretty wild. I mean, the fact that it doesn't even become a Knuckles show, it becomes a Wade show. It's frustrating, right? I think I'll put it at the bottom of you know, because I still had moments I enjoyed myself. Any moment that was Knuckles himself, I liked it. You know what I mean? Whereas I feel like any moment that wasn't, I wasn't a fan of it, but anytime he took over, he was him. And I still think a lot of issues with the show, but overall, I was like, you know what? That was at least funny enough in its bad moments for me to enjoy it. And yeah, I think that's gonna be my list for my Sonic media. So let me guys know, of course, what you guys would rank these as. What do you guys think? What are your favorite Sonic media pieces out there? You know, rank them for me. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of my ranking. Of course, I love you. Thank you all. See you all next time. Peace out. I love you.